So today I'm going to show you how to make kale chips. Now kale chips are made from kale, which is kind of like a bitter, very thick leafy green. It's filled with a lot of antioxidants, nutrients, and vitamins, which is great for your skin and your hair. So anytime you can put kale, especially raw kale, into your body, you're doing it a huge favor. But today we're going to be cooking it, and if you had kale chips before, chances are you're probably buying it. And that's most likely costing you quite a bit of money, and it doesn't taste as good. It's so much better when you get them fresh from the oven and they're warm and just crispy and perfect. So I'm going to show you how to make it today. For this tutorial, you're going to need a bunch of kale. One bunch, not like a bunch. A tablespoon of olive oil and a pinch of sea salt, a baking sheet, and one mixing bowl. That's it. That's all you need. First thing that you're going to need to do is preheat your oven to 350 degrees and make sure you have a baking pan. You can line it with foil or you can just use it regularly. Take your kale and we're going to rinse it off. Just like this to make sure there's nothing on it, and start pulling the kale off of the spine. Like this. It should come off generally very easy, and then what you're going to want to do with this next is set it on a paper towel to strain it dry. So I've got about 4 stems of kale here, and just take a paper towel to get the excess water off because we are going to be mixing it with oil. And I just have a regular mixing bowl for this. Now let's take the kale and put it in the mixing bowl. And if you have pieces that are like really big, you can tear them apart a little bit just to make smaller pieces. Once you've got your kale in the mixing bowl, you're going to want to take your olive oil, and I would say use about a tablespoon because you don't need a lot, just enough to make sure that it's coated and so that the salt sticks. Just drizzle. Take your sea salt and then add to taste and just start mixing it. Alright, so we've got this really beautiful oily kale now. Now that we have our kale in the bowl, we just want to set it on the cookie sheet, spreading it out pretty evenly. We don't want it to really overlap because they need to cook on their own and crisp.
Her Majesty's a pretty nice girl, but she doesn't have a lot to say. Her Majesty's a pretty nice girl, but she changes from day to day.
Alright, this is what it should look like, just evenly spread out and all on the pan. Now we've got all this on the pan, we're just going to stick it in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes until the edges start to get crispy and it turns a little bit brown. You don't want to burn them, so keep an eye on them. And then after that, they're ready to serve. These are done. As you can see, they're just starting to turn brown. They're not super brown. That means they're burned if they're really brown, and they're really crispy and they've shrunk a lot too, and that's how you can tell that they're done. And it's so much better to make them on your own than to buy them from the store. So if you like this video, you should rate it with a thumb in the upward facing direction, and if you haven't already, you can subscribe because we do fun things here, and if you have any questions or comments, you can leave them down below. Bye!